Okay. Welcome to the best game of the century, obviously, because it's me, you know? Uh, this is not what we usually do on the channel, but hey, get used to it, or, get out of here, I guess. I don't know. Uh, and I'm joined by my opponent, Dread. Say hello to the people. Don't mess it up.
Hello to the people. I
Hey,
am
see,
Dread.
he got it on his first time. I don't know why people have such trouble with that. And, of course, Houston, because it's Houston. Why not have him, you know? Say hello to the
Why
people.
not?
And don't mess it up.
Oh, well, now you say that now not to mess it up. Now I probably most likely will mess it up.
Yeah, you
Hello,
already
people.
did. Terrible. Terrible. Gosh dang.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Awful, awful,
And that's why we're
awful.
good at chess and you're not.
This is true.
So tell me, Dred, should we start the engine right now and then see what it says? Because we haven't looked at the engine for this game yet. He and I have both done our analysis, like, without the engine, and we're a little worried that it's just going to hate every move that we made.
I mean, you haven't told them like what this game is yet.
I guess that's true. We played this game with each other. When did we start? It was like 2 months ago, right?
Oh, I have this date written down somewhere.
Oh yeah, you do in your annotation. March 17th, and we ended on May 14th. That's crazy. So
Which was
yeah,
yesterday. This game
yeah,
ended
yeah,
yesterday.
just yesterday.
And it started 58 days before that. So this game took a long time.
You can see the time for moves off on the right side here. So we had 5 days we wanted to for each move. You can see sometimes we used all five. So pretty crazy. But yeah, we haven't run the engine yet. I'm kind of nervous because I'm worried it's gonna hate everything that I did.
But throughout this entire month, or 2 months that these two were playing this, they were driving each other insane, like
Oh
going
yeah.
back and forth on lines.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've got white on the top side. I hope that doesn't bother everyone because I can't actually figure out how to flip that. So.
I think you click on the little gear at the top right corner of the board.
Oh wait, I see it now. It's right here.
Or you hover over. Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
beautiful, beautiful.
I mean, you can have black on the bottom if you want. I don't care.
Ninja Witch Larson attack. What the crap is this?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
the name of the opening.
Gross.
Yeah, so this is kind of a curious thing that I guess you like to do because people don't know what to do about it, right? But
Yeah.
Well, like this is the kind of opening where you wait for your opponent to make the bad move.
yeah, I think so. But little did you know, I can just use my opening explorer, so no chance. I mentioned in my annotation here, I was like, funky play.
Yeah.
But I probably, like, this is a 3 hour move that I made, right? That's probably more time than I spent on, like, the last game that we had played for every move, so... Because the thing is, when I play with Dread, I just move in, like, 2 seconds and then lose, you know? So I figured I would actually think about it this time. So I guess we're gonna go without the engine. We'll look at that in the end.
Alright,
So,
so yeah,
okay.
bishop b2 is the idea.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're gonna play that when you bring the pawn out, right? I had a curious idea of, like, going to d5 instead, right? And the idea is that I want to fight, like, the white squares instead of the black ones. I was about to say...
Oh.
I was about to say
I mean,
green.
it is pretty early, but thinking about it, like his strong bishop right now is his dark square bishop, so obviously you want to take as much dark squares as you can, right?
Yeah,
So that's
right?
one school of thought, or
So
like
E4 is just principle, right?
Or you take
mean,
every other
e5.
square, right? So, I mean, if he wants these
Yeah.
dark ones, then I get the white ones instead, but...
It's true, but you have to look at the most active piece that he has right now, which is his dark square bishop, right?
Yeah, and I
play
brought this
d5
knight out already,
first.
so... Say again?
What I can do after d5 is I can play d4 immediately, and now you can't really play e5.
That's true. Because, you know, you just
Not
take
that
it.
I would actually go for this, because that's not really the point of the opening. But that's
Yeah,
an idea.
but the other thing is, like, I hate freaking queen's pawn games. This just happens every single game. It's so boring. I hate it.
And like the point of my opening is that I want my bishop to be open and active. So that's my entire strategy
that's
through the
true.
opening here.
This is not what you'd call open and active, is it? So...
Right.
I
I mean,
but,
that's
like,
probably
honestly,
an okay move, to be honest, but...
Yeah, but, like,
Yeah,
one
you
reason
think-
why I didn't play this is because I hate these freaking queen spawn openings. So I didn't want to get into this position. I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah.
But I've already got the knight out, so I'm gonna go for the dark squares. So
I
e5
think
is played instead.
E5 makes. Yeah, I agree. E5 makes sense.
Yeah, and now actually this is really strong. I think so.
And
E3
just
is
for-
played. I think he's probably prepping d4, right?
It's an idea, but the main idea is to play bishop b5. to put pressure on that knight, and indirectly put pressure on e5.
I'm gonna let you do it though. So d5 comes out, right? And then bishop b5.
And we see this.
Yeah.
And now I'm threatening to take e5.
So
Double
And
pawn.
when I have this in blitz, like people hang that all the time.
like, okay, yeah, look, I protected my knight, right? But that's obviously not really the. That's
Yeah.
not the point. Well, you can't do that now. You do have to.
No,
take
yeah, I do.
this,
I do
but-
take. Yeah, there we go.
That would be double.
I have that
blunder.
all the time, all the time.
That would be a double blunder. So yeah, let's see.
That's the correct move. Yeah.
Yeah, bishop d6
And-
obviously covers both of them. So
Well, I
And-
mean, even double C pawns isn't the worst double pawns in the world.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if white takes this knight, I mean, like people at our elo do this all the time, but it's terrible because then black
I do
has
this
the two
all the
bishops,
time.
and like this is fine. You actually have a really nice center, so this is totally good
Yeah.
for me.
It's super in
Usually
the
in
end
these
game.
usually in these positions, like white actually does take that knight. Not now, but like later when the moment's right. See, the correct move here is to play f4 for white, which I didn't know at the time.
Ah,
I've done some opening
this?
prep since. Yeah. And if you take f4, like I take g7,
geez.
bishop takes g7. Yeah, that.
Oh, that
And, like
well,
this.
that looks
This gets.
bad.
Yeah.
I mean, this just has to be losing, right? I can't even go here because then after you take it, you just get this for free. So, and then I guess I don't lose my rook, but this looks horrible. Right? He's like +3 already.
Like, look
Four?
how
Who
open the
knows?
king is. Like, to begin with, you could just swing the queen over and just
Yeah.
have a field day.
Yeah, this ain't no good. So, yeah, f4 looks pretty good. So you ended up playing knight f3 here.
Yeah, I played
instead.
knight f3, which I don't think is a good move.
Yeah, you even marked it with an inaccuracy on your
Yeah.
elevation.
And later I
Honestly-
play knight c3, and I also give that an inaccuracy. So knight f3, knight c3, both inaccurate. Truth hurts.
I
I
guess
think
the
what
other
you're
thing I'm
doing-
looking at, like, I can't go here because that same thread on the pawn. So what do I
the,
do?
the engine move is f6.
Never play f6. Terrible.
Yeah, and then the line is queen h5 check,
Oh dang.
or
Yeah.
g6, and then queen h4.
Yeah, this looks pretty fun.
Yeah, so that's an interesting position.
This is cool too because now you are threatening to take that because I don't like having. I mean, there's nowhere safe my king can go if that falls.
Yeah, but
So maybe I would. I can't bring this out because then this pawn's hanging. Oh well, we don't really have time to look into it too far, but this is
Right.
an interesting position. What do we have instead? Knight f3, and you don't like this move, so.
I mean, I
Right.
think it's fine because you're playing principle. You're just developing, right? You just go
Right.
with what you know.
I think it works out okay, but f4 was definitely better.
Yeah, I don't know if
We're
I'd go
not
so far as
GMs.
call it like an inaccuracy, but maybe you're right. Queen f6 though, I really wanted to be aggressive here. And I guess my point is that my knight wants to come here anyway, where it can block that square.
Yeah,
And I mean, I
which
can
is an
see
idea I
already.
totally saw.
Yeah, yeah. As we'll discover, I can see already that I've got a lot of pieces looking down here, so this looks pretty good for me. Plus, I have this attack eventually.
Yeah.
So, knight c3 comes out to defend it, and again, you
Yeah.
didn't like this either.
I think I like castles better here, actually. Gets your king safe.
Castling is
know
for
that,
the
like-
weak. Didn't you read my annotation?
Ah,
Castling is for the weak. In fact, after this move, he castled. Yeah, I wrote it down in the annotation. Castling is for the weak. Even
Now,
though I'm
knight
obviously
e7.
preparing to castle.
I expected bishop e6 to defend d5 after knight c3.
Because it's
But,
true,
like,
this
I
is
just-
actually falling, technically.
I completely missed knight e7, and I felt that's why I give it an inaccuracy.
Oh, I see. Like
'Cause,
the,
like, the knight on c3 like really isn't that good. It's just in the way of my bishop. It's not really going anywhere. Well, it does go somewhere, but not because you played well.
yeah.
Anyways,
And then, it's important to note, by the way, like, if he takes here... Oh, it's not white's turn, look at that. If he takes here, I still don't want to take it with this knight, because, like, people are so afraid of double pawns. This is fine. If I take
Yeah.
with the knight, actually,
Like,
d5 is
yeah.
falling, so...
exactly. Like, doubled
the
C
pawn
pawns.
takes is
like,
fine.
I get doubled C pawns all the time, and I love playing with it because how do you attack that in the end game? It's very hard to approach it.
Plus, I mean, I kind of like this, too, right?
Open file for the rook,
So-
right? It's just great.
Yeah, this looks totally fine for me.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't do it.
Yeah, so he castles instead. Looks good. Bishop
Bishop
g4, so I
G4.
want to try and like add some pressure here. The obvious idea is still we have this discovered attack on h2, so if my queen can get over here somewhere, once this knight is pinned, right, this obviously looks bad for white. But on top of that, we might have some other threats too. And then he plays bishop e2, and this is where I think I make my first, don't know if you call him a mistake, but definitely a bit of like a missed winning position here, because this dark squared bishop is really important to the play here. And you see I go queen h6, so again, I really want to attack this, right? But if the dark squared bishop is gone, the queen looks kind of dumb on h6 too.
Isn't h3 to stop this whole threat?
Not h3 actually, but knight to b5. And
Well, show them what happens if like it's black's turn again.
Yeah, if it's black's turn again, like we play some stupid move, right? This is really crushing, because now we're coming down on this side. And so obviously like the knight needs to move, but if it moves anywhere, okay, we lose the game, you know. I don't know if you knew this, but when it's checkmate, you lose. So, not good.
No, it only gives black a slight advantage.
Slight advantage, yeah, slight. So obviously like he can't move his knight out of the way. So now you do have to play h3, which really sucks. Because you know, after we take, right? And black's
I think you just missed mate.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a problem. Hey, like I said, when you get checkmated, you lose the game. It's terrible. So. I seem to miss mate quite a lot. Dread knows this.
It's almost like, you know, it's almost like it. I don't know, it's just funny. The king, it's considered such a weak piece, yeah. But if you use it correctly, your king is always a fighter. You never underestimate the king.
He's kind
Yeah,
of a
we'll see that in the
weak
end game.
sauce fighter, though. Know what I'm saying? Just gets scared of everything. He never put himself in danger. Anyway, to your point, like h3, I wonder if this works. But I don't think so. Yeah, because look at this. We actually have that same position where like I could take the knight, or I could just.
Well,
wait, no, I can't checkmate you, can I? But after I
think-
take this, you've got to deal with the mate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
bishop's
just
gonna
push
fall.
G.
Yeah, but now we lose
Aren't
the
I
bishop.
just down a piece here?
Yeah, so this doesn't look good
Yeah.
either. I probably looked at this when we were playing the game, but I don't recall. But I mean, it's a good point because like h3 looks very natural.
Instead of all this nonsense, like, instead of queen h6, the move I was afraid of was a6.
Yeah, a6, double exclam. I wish I had seen this because this looks really nice. You know,
And the
It's
simple,
patient. It's a
it's
patient
just
move.
stopping knight b5 is the
Yeah.
idea. So
'Cause knight b5
preserve the
ruins
dark squared
everything.
bishop. Yeah.
I mean, after
Well,
knight
after-
b5 is played here, I guess technically the bishop could try to escape out here or something. I mean, not here obviously, but
Well, you're hanging c7.
yeah. And then I mean, you know, that doesn't look good. So like, I still have the bishop alive. Maybe I can make this attack later, but like, it doesn't seem playable, right?
Right.
I mean,
so,
you can sacrifice the bishop pair, and if you can make your knights work, then you might have a slightly worse end game. But you have to think about your mid game before you get to the end game, right? If you have a worse mid game than your end game, then there's no point in playing the end game, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I just feel like this bishop was so strong, so it's not like I'm losing when this goes down, but it would be really
Yeah.
cool if I had seen this, because this move, I think,
Yeah.
a6 really just...
But you have to think about all of his current active pieces, right? You know, if your light square bishop is stronger than your dark square bishop, then why would you keep your dark? And then he has a strong knight, right? So if you can get rid of a stronger piece for a weaker piece, then it's worth it.
I guess I see what you mean, but this bishop is really strong, actually.
Yeah,
So-
it is.
It's true.
And I wanted to get rid of my knight on c3, like
yeah.
for anything.
Yeah, because
It's
it
just in
doesn't
the, it's
really...
just in the way of my bishop.
I mean, curiously,
For
this is
sure.
the only square it can go to, but it found it, so look at that.
So knight c3 worked out, but it shouldn't have.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
my point.
And the other thing is that this queen looks really awkward, too, because, like, h6 is not really where it wants to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of in our corner, you know. It's not where it
It
should.
just sort
be.
of
It
stands
has to be
there
controlling
awkwardly for
everything.
the rest of the game.
Indeed. So I just castling's for the week, but I did it anyway, and then he took... And, I mean, I could have actually brought the queen back over here, but I went with the pawn instead. Because, again, these double D pawns are actually pretty strong.
Well, actually, oh no, that's correct. Never mind.
It's
So, I mean, this feels okay to me. Again, like, I think it would have been really a lot better with a6, but This is not like a losing position. Just that my queen feels a little silly and white has the 2 bishops, so...
Probably
What
because of my passive opening, black was better until queen h6, and now I think it's probably about equal. Maybe black's still slightly better, but I think queen h6 throws away a lot of the advantage.
Boom!
c4 is explosive,
Good
and now my
explosive.
counterattack on the center begins.
Funky. I like this. I mean, I can just take it and we make the trade, or maybe with the bishop or something. But
That's what
I
happens.
don't want to, really. But I do. And then, like, I thought about this one for some time, I think. Oh, I can't see the time on the moves anymore. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 19 hours. That's a long time for me, guys. Because normally I like to make my move in, 2 seconds. So... But yeah, I figured this was okay. I actually liked the double pawns quite a lot, but I mean, if I just let him, like, take it next turn, I feel like I don't really get anything. So the other move I could have played was, like, d4, but he just wins this trade, theoretically, so I have to, like, take this knight, and then he just has the 2 bishops for kind of nothing, so I feel like this doesn't really feel so good for me. So... And actually now it would maybe be even good if you
b7
did...
hangs.
Oh, b7 too, yeah, I didn't even see that. So yeah, there's more problems than that even. So yeah, I mean, I figured just taking it was okay. So let's see. Looks like this.
I agree with that.
And
So
what
one
is
center
this?
pawn down. Oh boy.
Indeed.
Honestly, I think I like taking with bishop a lot better.
Oh, you mean this pawn? Like,
It immediately runs into e4.
Oh yeah, shoot.
So I had to take with the
Oh.
pawn.
R.I.P.
I see, I
knight.
see.
And like, even if that didn't fail tactically, I wanted to take with the pawn anyways.
Yeah, because it's nice to have these guys hooked up, right?
Yeah.
Because
Makes
then,
sense.
there's
Yeah,
this
my a
hole for
pawn's
me.
isolated, but I don't care about that.
Yeah, I mean, this makes, like, a good attack for the center. It's gonna happen eventually.
My thinking is just principle, right? It's like, oh, you want your pawns together, you don't want islands.
Yeah, definitely. Which is going to be a thing this game, as you'll see.
But like by this position, I'm already looking at the pawn sacrifice of c5.
Yeah, you know what's kind of funny?
Because my whole point is to just rip open black center. That's what I want.
Yeah, but our thought at this point, like after this rook move, was very different, right? Because looking at my annotation, what I wrote down here was...
That you didn't know
like-
what to do, so you just like improved to see what I would do.
Yeah, like this move is good, right? You get the rook on
That's
the
a good
open
move,
file,
yeah, I agree
but
with
then it betrays the fact that I don't have any plan. I'm just waiting to see what happens. But then what you said was white, like, what does it say? White made progress, but is lacking peace activity. So actually, like, you think that black is better here, so... Curious. I mean, we both kind of dislike this.
Well, I think in a position like this, it's just a little like
I'm still kind of passive, is I think what
Yeah.
I'm getting at here.
there's a lot of tension and it's just waiting to be bust open, right? It's just a lot. It's like a piano string, it's just so tight.
Right, so
Let's see.
d3 trying to discourage e4.
Yeah. Well, as we saw before, that bishop can't move anywhere, because, I mean, where does it go anyway? Actually, I guess it can do this. But the point is, if the bishop wasn't here, right, then e4 just wins.
I mean, the bishop's there to stop the f3 knight from being pinned.
Yeah.
That's its job, so...
Problem is, though, like, the bishop can't get out now, right? So, I mean, this actually feels still pretty paralyzed.
I mean,
guess.
eventually the f3 knight is going to move, and those bishops will be traded.
Yeah.
That-
Because,
so-
I mean, it's no good. And this bishop is actually pretty nice, so you wouldn't mind the trade there.
Right.
f5.
f5.
Yeah, so... this is worrying because, like, I'm opening this up. But again, that bishop's no good, so, I mean, maybe it gets traded off anyway. And I'm thinking that if I can, like... I can't fight right here, because eventually something's gonna happen, and then white's pawns will break through, right? So, rather I take a fight, like, around these two, and so if I bring f5 out here, maybe I can make that happen. That was kind of my idea.
And the move I thought on the longest for the entire game. The pawn
Yeah,
sacrifice
this was, like, the
c5.
whole 5 days, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know how chess.com works. Don't look at me. Ah, what the...
Spoiler alert.
Where are we? Here we are. But yeah, c5 is really interesting. So there's like a lot of lines to look at here. I think I put a lot of them in my annotation right here. This is obviously a pawn sack, right? I mean, theoretically you can just take it.
Well, it does hang e5 if you take it immediately.
Yeah. So then, you know.
So
Well,
that's what
actually,
happens there.
you can't take
Probably
with
knight
the
takes.
bishop, right? Because after the bishop takes the knight, then this is falling.
Yeah, so knight takes.
But the knight takes over here, and that looks fine.
Yeah.
We trade back, you know, we could be in a position like this. It still seems pretty even. I guess white has the bishop, which I like better here, because this position is opening pretty quickly. But, I didn't choose to go for this.
Open line, right?
I mean, in theory, center pawns are worth more than the other pawns.
That's true.
Well,
and then also my queen is terrible, right?
Well, I mean, look how open this is, right? You have a bishop in an open line. You want that. You don't want a knight.
Yeah,
this
bishop
is the whole
great.
point of my strategy here, was to just open the center, and material's equal, and I got what I wanted in this line.
So I don't want to do that. And then there's other ideas too, though. Let me see what I've written down.
If you want to like just fully accept the sacrifice, you take on f3 first.
Yeah.
So
and then after
one.
white takes back with the bishop, this is free. It's probably not going to take here, right? Because you want to have the two bishops. That's kind of the point of this.
Right.
If you do this, then I just take back with the knight, and then I'm just up a pawn, right? So.
Right. So 2 bishops fatels versus the 2 knights.
Indeed, but I do have an extra pawn, so I looked at this too, but eventually I decided, like, something feels wrong here, like, I'm just gonna spontaneously lose, and I didn't really know what it was, but I didn't like it.
It's kind of funny, because that was, like, also my, like, I didn't do any analysis past this point. I was like, I have the 2 bishops, they'll probably be good eventually, it'll be okay.
Yeah, so you'd think we would have actually thought about, what happens here, but we didn't. And then, I think there was one more move that I looked at here. Is it true? I'm trying to figure it out. Bishop takes f3. Oh no, I guess that's all I had looked at here.
One move I was somewhat worried about was king h8.
Yeah, king h8. Wow.
Because I'm not threatening to take on d6, because after queen takes d6, like black's queen is just much better.
And now I can't be checked. That's what's important. Like. Because otherwise the bishop can whoops. Well, that would be an impressive move right there.
A drunken bishop.
The bishop can just come in here otherwise. So.
Yeah, and in a lot of lines, I always have some dirty queen check because of f5. So you just play king h8. You step out of all of that nonsense, and it's not really clear what I should do now.
Yeah, this is like a move that I would like never look at, but like, I kind of wish I'd played it. It looks nice.
It's kind of funny, because, like, I played c5, and I was like, I don't know what to do if he plays king h8, but he's not going to play king h8.
Yeah, I think you even said it in your annotation. You were like, yeah, but my opponent will not play this. Which is funny.
Like, that's a good example, though, of patient moves. Like, patient moves are just, like, destroying for your opponent, because it's like, okay...
Yeah, I can't do anything.
You play this crazy move, but okay, I'm gonna play this nothing move that doesn't affect me anyway. So, but it's gonna affect you 100%. So,
I'm having a panic attack. I'm recording, right? Yeah, I am. Good. Okay. Sorry. Just had to check.
So we get e4 instead, which I think is correct.
Yeah, you put an exclamation point on it. Wow, I feel so flattered.
Because it's kind of there's so much going on here to find that move out of all the other nonsense.
Yeah, one thing that you should look at is, like you can't really take this, because after all this comes down, we still have this, like, pin on or fork on these two pieces. So yeah, he's up 2 right now, but he's not going to be in a moment. Right. So, you have to look at this in position.
Actually, queen b3 check.
Oh.
Wait.
I'll block with my queen. Does this work?
Does that work?
It does work, actually. Because then rook f to e1.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't have to, like, take on f3 way back then. Like, you don't have to go for this big trade. You can just move your knight when it's attacked.
Yeah, like if we go here. Well, I would probably take.
Well, yeah, you can do that. Actually, that's probably better.
Okay, maybe this actually, maybe this is the line instead. Then it still feels nice. Now.
Yeah, upon further analysis,
but I wouldn't take on d6.
Well, the knight has to move somewhere, and then after it does, I can just grab this for free. So actually, I think this is... Well, maybe you go here.
But the point is, I wouldn't take on d6 to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, so none of this would happen anyways.
Yeah, you're trying to sacrifice a pawn. You don't want to give it up like that. So d takes e4 instead.
It's actually very important, that move. Because if I try to play the same way without taking on e4 first, all the same stuff happens,
But you don't have this, right?
But black's pawn is on f5 instead of on e4.
Yeah.
Which actually turns out to be, like, very important for the end of the game.
Yeah, and you should note, like, this feels nice because now I'm gonna get at this bishop and my king feels exposed here. So it's nice to get rid of the light squared bishop, but
yeah,
these two are alone, these two are alone, and these two are alone. And this one's attacked. Dang. So, something looks wrong with the pawns, right? So, you know, you do worry a little bit about that.
The move I was worried about... Oh, wait, no. That's not... Never mind. Yeah, we got that.
Walking knight is walking. So that's nice for you. And then I take
took
back
on c5. I think...
Or c, that is.
Like, the move I was... The move... Yeah, that's right, c5. The move I was afraid of was just to push the pawn to d5 instead of taking.
Yes. Well, I actually like the other move better because this pawn's, like, really strong, right? I mean, it's passed, you know, and it has a rook behind it already, so...
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would have considered this, really, because... Then I
just couldn't
haven't
figure
connected,
out what to do with
but,
white. So...
Yeah. Sticky. Again, this queen feels so awkward, too. Oh, shoot. Houston says he's getting lag spikes, so he may disappear for a moment.
Just a little bit sometimes here and there.
Oh, there he is. Nice.
Well, anyways, we got takes on c5.
Yeah.
Just trying to take a pawn, but I have queen c2 forking the pawns.
Yeah, this is... Somehow I didn't see this coming, which is sort of funny. Obviously, there's no way that you can protect both of these pawns, right? So I had to think for a long time about this one. The move I was looking at was, I think it was rook to either f5 or f6. So this...
well, that hangs in exchange. Bishop takes f6.
Yeah, actually, that's terrible. So it's this
rook
one.
f5. Yeah.
Rook to f5, and then the idea is that we're going to come over here. So you can't take this pawn, so he's probably going to grab this one. Rook comes over. But every line that I looked here, this attack is really not so dangerous as I'd like it to be. I mean, he can even go like queen to here, where he protects this and he forces the trade. And I don't like this because now this rook feels really awkward. Plus it's attacked by the knight already, so we're going to have to move. And he's got the bishop to my knight, so this still feels like kind of a tricky endgame. Although I do have the pass pawn, but... Either that or he could even,
line too,
he could even play like h3 or something. So...
I mean, don't forget the e pawn is passed as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, I would argue the c pawn's more dangerous.
Yeah, it's already got a rook behind it, too, which feels really nice.
Yeah.
This a pawn's isolated, so it can't attack the structure very well. Whereas, like, these guys can fight the f pawn, so... But either way, not what we ended up seeing. My laptop just disappeared. It just straight up disappeared. I played knight to f5. And my idea was that there was like a tactic here, so that actually c5 wasn't hanging. But it turned out I was wrong. So that was a little sad. You know the discovered check on the queen? Or discovered attack on the queen, right? And this knight is under attack too, so if I can take it, I mean,
check.
It's check. So there's no way that this works for him if he can't defend that knight. And I didn't think that he could, because look at the squares that defend it, right? For the queen. You got... That's obviously under attack by 2 pieces. That doesn't even work. None of these squares are safe, because the rook covers these two, right? And then the knight covers this one. But, you know, again, like, this is why he was saying play king to h8 at some point, because he can get out of it with this check here. And this knight's hanging, too, so actually my only move here is queen to e6. We trade queens, and then I get my knight out of danger.
Then it's a bishop against, 2 knights against a bishop and a knight, and that's kind of tough.
Briefly, actually. As it turns out, the bishop goes away pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I decided I did not want to allow a knight to d3 ever.
Because, I mean, this looks really strong. The reason for the bishop here is that it takes the rook, so... Maybe this is playable, though. I don't know. I haven't looked at this line.
I think it might be.
But I don't have the knight on d3 anyway, so...
Rook takes d3. D3. What? C1. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, that'd be quite a rook move. I'd probably just take back. Oh, because I mean, if I take my king, I'm really good at the game. Uh, yeah, this would be an interesting one. I still have this isolated pawn. It feels like an easy target.
Probably
Well,
white
then for
is
white,
still
just
slightly
hog-
better for that.
You just
Just
put your
for that
hog on
pawn.
the 7th. Put your hog on the 7th. You know, just
That
move
too,
rook
I didn't
to.
see that.
Yeah.
Up here. Yeah, I can go here to respond, but and then we'll just draw, you know, because always repeat. Anyway, but you know, not the line that ended up being played. I just defended this with the pawn, and then he took it. And now I've got a decision, like, I can take with the rook or the pawn, right? I took with the rook here because I wanted to get rid of one of them. Just makes
But
the
it is
position a
also-
bit more simple.
It's a good principle to follow is that you should most likely take with your most powerful piece.
Oh, this move, I hate this move. But we should point out what's happening here. We're in this interesting endgame now, where I've got I've got 3 isolated pawns. He's got 1, but it's not so bad. But this one's passed. So I feel like this is actually pretty good for black. But it's very complicated, right? Because black has these obvious targets that white wants to attack. So it's pretty clear to me how white plays this, and it's not as obvious how black plays it. Although it's funny because, like, in Dredd's analysis, he says the exact opposite. So again, we both dislike it. But
Well, I think here, like I said, just get an unbiased opinion. For a move for black would just be protect your passed pawns. Passed pawns must be pushed, so protect them, right?
yeah,
So why
we
not
go to C8.
That happens eventually, but he wastes a tempo first.
Yeah, and this move was just terrible. Oh gosh, I hate it. I mean, actually,
No.
like on paper, this isn't so bad. Dredd would point out because I still have the D2 square that I can go to eventually.
Well, let me ask, how much time did you spend on this move?
Pretty long, I
D8.
think.
I think you thought for a long time.
I don't
Spoiler
know.
alert.
It's inscrutable. Chess.com doesn't want to work that way today. I thought for a while about it, and the idea is actually like, so clearly this pawn's actually invulnerable, right? You should see we lose to rook to d1 checkmate, so that's no good. And then the idea often is that we want to open up like a space for a king, like over here or something, or over here, so that we can, you know, avoid the checkmate, right? If he goes here, I really like this move because it forks the knight and the pawn. And if he does bring the knight over here to defend, he really is awkward because he's blocking his rook. And then maybe my knight can go like here and just defend, but I mean, it feels like this is a pretty nice position.
I'd agree with that.
But there is a move where he kicks the knight, right? And now he opens up his king to get out, so this looks really good on paper. But after knight to h4, we're going to get to f3, which is even stronger than d3, I think. This is like a really, really good square. Because now this h-pawn has to be babysat forever unless it moves, and then I'm just going to get a lot of moves like this. Rook d2 is coming eventually as well. And importantly, if he takes the pawn now, it's still checkmate, right? Because I've got the g2 squared covered. So that was the thinking. But I missed the one good move that he has, I guess, which is king to f1. And now I feel really awkward, because I moved here to, like, make these threats. I don't want to go here anymore, because the knight's not really under attack. C, for example, after rook takes c5.
Still hanging mate. Rook d1 mate. I have to play king a1 first.
That's a good point. See, again, I like to miss mate in one. So king d1 comes out, I suppose. But we have, like, a tempo where we're kicking this knight. And I don't know, somehow this just didn't feel very good. I do have the pass pawn on the a file, but
Now, when I was analyzing this, I was actually quite nervous about this position. Because, like, I'm not sure how to deal with that pawn. I mean, I can go, like, forcibly win it, but the problem is, like, in doing that, I have to bring my whole army to do so. And when I do win it, like, maybe you just go take all my kingside pawns.
yeah.
So that was what I was scared of.
Yeah, maybe this is pretty good, actually. I should have looked at it longer. I only took, 5 days, so... What did I end
But
up
none of
playing
this
anyway?
happened.
Yeah, so after king to
Exactly.
f1, I played rook to c8. This is a good point. This is kind of bad on paper, right? Because, like, I'm kind of admitting that I think that this move was terrible, right? When I move one more square over.
And you just lose a tempo. I got king f1 for
I mean,
free.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it just looks like you made a misclick, right? It's like, oops, you know.
Oops, yeah, I meant to go here. I'm so glad he didn't see my C pawn was hanging. That would have been terrible. Um,
I
and
really
as
like what I did here. I think like my pieces just sort of come to life, and it
Yeah.
gets really hard for black to move.
well, and
But
it's really going to be important that the king is here instead of here.
Yeah.
Like it turns out that one king move is like a really big deal.
it's congestion too, right? Like you're just blocking black from doing anything constructive. with his
Actually, in a
pawns.
way, I thought that this move was a little bit weak because it forces me to make what I think is the best move, which is knight to d6, and then
Yeah.
rook a4 comes out. But I mean, as it turns out, this is a nice way to attack all of the targets here.
Covers your bases.
Wait, what's that?
It kind of covers your bases.
Oh, I
This
see.
kind of way. You see what I mean? Like everything's covered here. Say like you do push the pawn, then you can bring the knight to like c3 and stop that pawn from ever moving again.
That is what happens. So
Yeah. But like c4 here, the idea is that this a7 pawn actually can't really be taken. I think you mentioned like maybe you could, but this looks really nasty.
well, I mean, I always have knight c1, and my king I think is close enough. Maybe. So knight c1, then king d2.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great. I
if-
think actually the move I was looking at here was probably knight to here. Does that make any sense? Maybe not.
Maybe.
Yeah, because the king can't come here now. This pawn's actually hanging right now, but there's nothing attacking it. And then eventually we're gonna
I
have
mean,
like
this isn't what happened, but
yeah, but eventually we're gonna have moves like this coming out. I feel like this is not really winnable for white. So in my mind, that a7 pawn was really not actually killable here. So when I played c4, I didn't expect he would take this.
and I didn't.
Knight
But I
c3.
might have been able to get away with it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. One thing I noticed later though is like obviously this pawn technically is not attackable by the knight by the rook because they can't jump over pieces, but it is a target, right? So now I've changed it from 2 targets to 3, and all 3 of the isolated pawns are under attack. I mean by the knight obviously, but the rook as well. So I'm actually
That's
a little
why.
bit.
That's why I liked this maneuver. So
Yeah,
attacking everything, and you just have to defend.
yeah, and then rook c7 like feels kind of horrible to play this, but I feel like I need to because now the a7
Yeah.
pawn really can fall because obviously we don't have c3; it's blocked by the knight. So.
Well, I mean, this is kind of exactly what you want from black. You want black defending, and white wants to be on the attack, right? So white is making all the good moves here, like or Dread is making all the good moves.
And then rook a6. I mean, the knight's under attack here, right? Knight c8. I felt like this was the only move that I could really play.
Does it hang?
I looked at rook d7 a lot, and it looks pretty terrible. But I could not figure out how to win.
Yeah, like you're like, man, this move looks horrible, but I'm not sure what to do now.
I was
right?
thinking of playing like maybe king e2 and then a4 and knight b5. I have like those kinds of scary ideas, but I could not make any of them work.
Yeah, I mean,
Again,
it seems difficult.
it's another case of the patient move, right? Like, oh, you make a bad move now. I've made a decent move. You make a worse move now.
Yeah, but to me, it seemed like knight c8 was the only way to go at this. And you're right, like the e-pawn technically is hanging, but again, I don't think he can really take this.
No, in this case, I cannot take it.
Yeah,
Like, because
Because, there's just no way.
that happens.
yeah.
So it really like cannot be taken right now.
I love this,
But
by the way. I was really pleased that there's this pawn just
I would-
hanging for like 10 moves in a row, and then it just
Well, then,
it
like,
can't
why
be taken.
can't- why don't you just play, say, like f3, and then just break it open, then you just have a great center.
Never
Like, we
play
just have-
f3.
Never play f3. Never. For shame, Houston. I can't believe you'd say this.
Now I was looking at lines like this, but it feels like this is only an improvement for black because
Yeah, remove this
e4
target, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I'm
but then
gonna
you
do
have
that,
double pawns.
my-
You have good paired pawns to push down the board.
It's true,
'Cause
but
after this-
after knight to b6, I feel pretty good here, actually.
Oh, I see. You just kind of build a cage for the rook.
Yeah, that too. I mean, this rook feels terrible. And now my king can finally get in. I don't think these two promote, and obviously, well, I mean, this one's definitely not going to. And this pawn still feels really strong. So I think that actually removing that target is not very good for white.
Let's see.
But But either way, we have king e2, just kind of getting closer. I do play this knight b6 move anyway. And I'm worried here maybe he could take the pawn, but he still doesn't.
I think I could have this time.
Yeah,
Like,
if
I
you look
seriously
at it, like,
considered it.
again, we have this problem where, you know, the knight can't go back here, but the king can go to
like,
d1 this time.
And
Then he's kind of like perma-stuck there because of the rook, but so is the rook. I guess he pinned the rook and the king at the same time.
So I had some ideas here. I think knight to c4 was one of them, which looks funny because the king can just take this, but it's a discovered check, right? In fact, we could even play double check. Jeez, and grab the g pawn. And then I think knight to d5 worked as well for some reason, but I can't exactly remember what the idea here was.
here I remember looking at the move a3.
Yeah, you want to block the b4 square, right? That's a really nice square because we protect the pawn. Oh, yeah, this is what we're looking at, of course. And we attack this rook, so...
I think a3 is designed to never let the knight get to d3 or b3.
d3 or b3? Yeah, well, those are the squares you really need me to not be on, right?
Yeah, and like just think about how you would get a knight to one of those squares.
Yeah, like this. I mean, we can't do it now. And then, like, there's no way we're gonna get here. So, like, this should just be covered for the whole game.
I saw
yeah,
this position and I'm like, I don't see how either side makes progress. I'm up a pawn, but, like, is that really worth it?
Just straight up antisocial. Nobody can make progress. Ridiculous.
So, inevitably, I didn't go for this line, even though, like, I think it's playable.
Yeah, we go king d2 instead. Rook d7 check. King gets a little
definitely
further off
underestimated rook d7.
Yeah, this feels actually okay for me. But it's still complicated, right?
Yeah, and I think, like, I have a move coming up that is, like, really strange, but really, really good. And I didn't see it at this point, but I should have seen it.
You should note, by the way, again, this pawn can't be taken, because now we're losing the rook. So...
Yeah.
This pawn, man, I've been trying to give it to you for like 5 turns. This makes me pleased. I really like this.
In the business, it's called a poison pawn.
Yeah, but it's clear that Black's hold is really tenuous, right? I'm getting nervous. So
after rook to a4 is like an accidentally good move.
Yeah, we have to trade knights now. And look, this pawn's gonna fall, right? There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
So I go to
f7.
Rook
f7, and like here I started getting really scared.
Yeah, because I mean, how do you defend this, right?
Alright, so no like way. Show them king takes c4, rook takes f2, rook takes a7.
Because you just got to, you've got to take something back here, right?
Right, rook takes g2, and like I can play my h pawn somewhere, like. H4,
yeah, just to like buy some time, or I think maybe you can just bring
win
the king over.
You still.
Well, no, I think before you even do anything, why don't you know what? You have a passed pawn here. Why don't you just push a4?
Because I'm gonna push a lot harder here. I've got the two connected.
Right.
Well, the issue is my rook is in front of my pawn, and his rook's gonna go behind it.
Yeah.
Go back a few moves here. So,
like right here.
Instead of pushing the h pawn, push your a pawn.
I don't think this is winnable.
But okay, say.
I mean,
say
we still get the
slides...
same kind of position. Yeah. Like you just go back to where we were.
Yeah, but I mean, you can push your a pawn again. You're a little bit closer now.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe you're right.
Like maybe this can be done because my king can't leave that file, but I feel like after we have rook to a2, now I'm just moving up this way, and white really has no way to stop that.
Yeah, the king's a little bit closer, no?
The king's closer, yeah, but if worse comes worse, I can just sack the rook and get the promotion too.
It's true.
The pawns might be strong enough to just go up the board on their own without the need of the king or the rook.
Yeah,
that's true.
So
I can't really do anything with that with my rook without losing the a pawn. Also, I'm down a pawn in this position. If you didn't notice.
Yeah, I mean, how do you get this out? You've got to like move the king up, and I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, it's really deceiving, like, because it looks really good for white, but just like black.
Alright, rook b2 check.
Space.
Oh.
And that's just mean.
That's really annoying. Yeah, so I don't think this is playable. I think rook b4 is the better move. But this, man, what is this? This is such a good move. Oh, jeez.
I think when we do the computer analysis, if any move either of us played is considered a brilliant move, it's probably this one.
Yeah, because it looks so weird. Like this does nothing. It looks like you wanted to go here and you just like clicked a little bit short. But the point is, after we take on f2, rook b2 comes out, and this is like a really odd position for me. I looked at I think 4 different lines that I could play here, and the most obvious one is rook takes b2, king takes. But this endgame doesn't look great. I thought maybe this is a draw, maybe if I play it right. We'll see if that's true, because that's what we ended up playing. The other idea was we go back to f7, but I don't like this too much because after b8,
we get the same king pawn ending.
Yeah, same ending. And again, he's just a lot closer to me.
Yeah, if anything, this is just worse.
So what do I just go to like freaking f8? This looks horrible. Because after like b7, like I can't get my king out ever. King is still gonna gobble up these pawns, right?
Like I played rook b2 to stop you going to the second rank. So like if I play rook b7, why not just go back to f2?
Always repeat. Yeah, maybe you just take it with your king now then.
Yeah.
But like if the black king ever tries to come out, you can just trade rooks. So feels like I'm stuck here. And then what was the other one? The other one was rook to f1. So the idea with this is that maybe I want to like target the e pawn, and I can get over here to do this. Tough because the king's there, but then I can I can maneuver, right? Adobe Acrobat.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, probably probably we meet this with rook to b8 check, and then rook to b7 check. I don't know where I go, like here or something. This pawn falls with tempo, and now I'm finally able to attack you. So feels like I'm way too slow here. And maybe it's rough to play d2 because you're leaving the c pawn alive, but I don't know.
See, I don't even know if I would go for this because like your king gets to f6, and one of my big advantages is that my king is more active than yours.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not sure that's worth the a pawn.
That is true. That is true. But I didn't like this position, so I didn't go for this one. Instead, I played rook takes b2, and I sort of accepted this endgame that I can't really win. Yeah, yeah, you really hate this move. You put like a double question mark on it.
I think you were drawing before that move, and now it's
possible.
It's just lost.
I'm gonna try to bring my king up here, but the problem is that like he just plays this.
So in this position, right? When I played rook b2, I saw this position in my head.
Oh man.
And I was like, yeah, this has got to be winning.
Yeah, I mean, you have opposition on the king. You just
yeah, I'm gonna have to move, right?
But the reason I thought I was winning was wrong, actually, because I'm thinking like, okay, my king's great here because it's sort of threatening both the a and e pawns.
Yeah.
And the black king can't defend them both, but I can't actually take the a pawn.
Yeah, because if you go up here,
your king follows
we should look
me.
at that real quickly. I have to make some move here because I can't go right now.
Like, just play g5.
Yeah, g5 is... Whoops, that's g6. Now the king comes down. But yeah, you're right. Like, you can't get back to defend this pawn. And actually, all of a sudden, this looks pretty bad for white. He's kind of racing to catch up. Maybe he's still winning. I don't know. But actually, the move that I had been looking at this point, though, was going down here. And then we both promote. And I was kind of hoping to run into this position, but like it was pretty hopeful. Because the point is, after you just make my king move, I've got to go somewhere. This is a nice move to just buy as much time as possible, but things are going to get locked up eventually. And now the king has to go somewhere. And actually, in this case, I always figured he would be attacking this a pawn. But actually, it looks like here he manages to get an attack on the e pawn. So we trade pawns, but you know his king is not in the way, and his pawn's closer. This is obviously. Oh, and this move is so good. Oh my god.
I think king c6 is the only move, actually.
Oh yeah, there was some funny like draw idea here, right?
Yeah, you play king b7, and then if I keep pushing the pawn, you just run your king to e8.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just theory, right? You have to get opposition on the king, and then you win.
Yeah, and like here, you know, now he's got to go back
lost
because he's got to stop this.
Or is white lost here?
This might still be a draw. We'll call it a draw.
Can I zugzwang you into losing h4 somehow? Maybe not.
I don't think so. I think we're just gonna move like this till the game
Anyways.
draws. But yeah,
I played
king
king
c6.
c6, which is like the meanest move of the game. That's
Brutalizing.
so mean.
Actually, the only legal move is king to a5. So.
Yeah. And
And
now
then e4 comes out.
king...
Look, I can't go through, so. Like, my only path to get there would be, like, around here. There's no way that I can catch it in time, right? So I just kind of try and run my pawn up the end of the board, but, you know, you're not going to let that happen.
I'd like to point out, before queen e1, I was thinking, what does my opponent want to do here? He wants to promote to a knight because it's funny. So I'll play queen e1 check, and then play queen a1, so he can't do that.
So I can't promote to a knight?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that
like no fun for you.
That was not exactly my idea, but... Although it's a good point, like, say that you started picking your nose here, so you played, like, this move or something, and then we promoted, you're probably still winning, because at some point we're going to force the queen trade. Well, actually, that's... Oh, wow.
Wins, yeah. It just wins there.
There we go. So we're going to force the queen trade, and then you just eat these pawns as well. There's no stopping
And then I
this.
promote with, then I mate with bishop and knight.
Yes! Of course. Just to show that you know how to do it.
Assert dominance.
But yeah, in this position, I finally decide, look, I can just surrender here, so... Okay, let's turn on the engine. I'm curious to see what happens.
I'm gonna run the analysis on Lichess as well. Let's see what happens. Here we go.
These are excellent, but this is a book move. Fun. So, what are the moves we really want to see about? Yeah, this one's... Ah, see, I knew this was something wrong with this.
Now, let me see both of my knight moves. Knight f3 and knight c3.
Okay, yeah. So, knight f3... Actually, that says his best.
Okay, it says... Okay, fair. Knight c3 is excellent. c4 is better. Okay.
Boom! Because it's c4, yeah.
So I was partially right about that.
But yeah, this move... So, I think the problem is that, like, it's not good on this square. Like, g6 would be a lot better. And then, obviously, a6 exists, too.
Alright, so e4 was, like, +1 for you.
Yeah, that's crazy, actually.
And queen h6 is already better for white? Wow.
a6 is fine, though, I guess it says, but...
Oh, a6 isn't even the move?
Yeah, a6 isn't the move, it's e4.
Play a6. I want to see what white's move is.
E4... E4? Yeah.
E4. Oh! Oh, I see. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. So
I can
you
go
can't
here
play
now.
e4.
I guess that's what it wants me to do, too. But I can't do this. So this attack
Is that what it wants?
fizzled.
Don't I have, like, knight takes...
Oh.
Wait, play d5. Play d4, I mean.
Yeah.
Knight takes d4.
Oh,
That's
terrible.
a mistake.
Terrible.
But I'm
I don't
attacking
see
your...
why yet, but...
It's the walking knight tactic. You, like...
Yeah, because I can't take this, because then you go back.
Lowering, yeah. Yeah.
But-
This comes quite right back.
And now I take you... Oh, my c3 hangs. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Well, this is not,
Okay.
like, dead loss, but... Computer
Down a
doesn't like
piece,
it at
aren't
all.
I?
Yeah.
Like a
Well, for
good
2
thing-
pawns, I mean, like,
Anyways.
you could do worse, but... Hold on. So...
That's interesting.
Knight b5 is
Yeah.
best, though. Yeah, so that was definitely the play.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the only move.
Oh, it likes f5 here. Wow.
f5 was best?
Just straight up... Well, you can't take this, because... But,
I didn't see f5.
wow.
Pawn storm.
I mean, I did eventually, but...
Was
Look,
c4
f5 is best again. Likes this again. Yeah, c4 is the best. Because it's explosive, you know?
D takes was b takes best. Yes, it was. Okay,
Nice.
I feel good. Okay, f5, man, it really wants f5.
Yeah, it really likes f5.
Now, when you finally did play
There
f5,
we go.
okay,
it's
it was
still
best.
best. Nice. And now we're
And now
dead
we're
draw.
equal. Okay. Oh wait, c5. Show me c5. It's good.
Terrible.
Rook b1 is best.
Good is good means terrible. That's how it works.
Huh.
But e4 is a mistake. Huh.
Bishop. Oh, look, the engine does go into the 2 knights versus 2 bishops line.
Wow, yeah. Because then after, I assume you take back, and then we grab on c5, right?
Look, it says minus 0.9. It's like the engine's just saying I'm up a pawn.
Wow, crazy. Maybe I should have taken this line. Well, the thing is, you're gonna take this b pawn here, right? So.
No, because of rook b8.
Oh yeah, you're right. So I guess this doesn't fall. Yeah, this would be interesting to see then.
Huh, okay.
Oh well. So, what do we end up doing? Mistake. Terrible. So it said that I had one mistake when I watched the analysis. I guess it was this. It was not even taking on this square.
Well, I mean,
on,
this
when we gave up.
analysis is much deeper than the quick analysis it does when the game immediately ends.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Knight d5 is best. Knight takes. Okay, all of this queen b3 check is an alternative.
Yeah, but I guess again this doesn't fall because of that same problem.
Now, what does it think of knight f5?
It's best. Ha!
b6
Yes.
is an alternative.
See, I felt so cool about that move.
Ooh.
Oh, it's
It doesn't
best
even
again. Yeah, but it doesn't take the pawn. It goes knight f4. I guess the point is that I actually still have not set up to defend both of them, so you can just do this next turn.
Huh.
Wow, I feel really good about this now. That's crazy.
So now it's just dead equal. Whoa, wait,
Oh
what happened
gosh,
here?
that's interesting.
Wait, does the computer just like really hate this ending?
Knight d3 is best. Wow.
Rook takes an. Wait, I'm better here?
By 3.
What?
By a lot.
What the hell?
Because
Wow.
it sees three isolated pawns.
Rook
Just like
d8
this
is
move
good.
Well, good in the sense that,
Now
I
let's
lost
see what
the whole
king
point,
f1
but
is.
I'm already losing. King f1?
Wow. So this was better for me all.
What?
What's a mistake? Oh, and it puts the
Rook
rook back on f.
f8? Oh my gosh.
Wait,
I
what?
get, because the pawn falls, right? I mean, it can anyway. Oh my gosh.
Play rook d2 and see what it thinks.
Rook d2?
Is best?
Wait, didn't it say that something else was best when we were looking here?
It said king f1. Wait, rook f8 was an alternative.
It says rook f8 is best, but then I play this. And, I don't know. Okay, but this is winnable. Wait, actually, what's happening is that it didn't consider this line. CV Valglar is moving a lot. Yeah, I guess this would have been fine. I didn't like it, but I guess I liked it.
Rook c4 is best. Wow.
Nice.
Rook a4 is best.
Yeah, see, I suspected there was something wrong with this, but
c4 is good.
Ooh,
Now does the
B8,
engine take
so
on
just
a7?
threaten the checkmate. Wow.
Knight c3
No,
is
it likes
best. Okay,
knight
so the
C3.
engine doesn't take the
If
pawn.
you take here, yeah, I think. Because then we
White
do
is still
C3.
better.
White's better. Yeah. See, like to me, this was just dead lost. I didn't think you would ever play this.
Rook b8.
Yeah, it still wants b8. That's curious because it's not checkmate anymore. But
So I guess the engine doesn't like being paralyzed like this. So
oh
it's
well,
like
that never would have
if
been
it-
checkmate, would it? Because whoops,
Whoa.
I've done a bad thing again. Because like, if we had played it here and then you take this, it's still terrible, but it's not checkmate. So not that that's much of a consolation.
c4 is good.
Okay, so
Rook k6 is best. Knight c8 is an bleh,
Knight to
can't even speak.
e8. What? I never would have
Okay.
looked at that. That's total engine move because this just follows. It doesn't even take it, I guess. But I never would have looked at that.
King e2 is best. All right. Oh, wait, no. Go back. Take on e4 instead of king d2.
Now this is best. It's kind of funny how it keeps doing that. But yeah, knight d5 is.
Knight d5 I looked at.
Oh, it says to play knight d5. Oh no, it says to play c3.
d3 first. Does it play king d1?
Yeah, and then rook c4.
d4.
Oh,
That's interesting.
oh, huh.
So white is still better, but it's kind of scary.
Curious.
Rook d7 check is best.
But this is a mistake. And this, oh, we're drawn. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I agree this ending is strong. Rook b4 is best. Nice. Rook Rook B2 is
Nice.
best.
Because that move was just crazy. I could not believe that this was a move, you know what I mean?
I was really hoping it was going to be a brilliant move, but alas.
It was good. That was a really freaking good move. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So Rook F1.
Yeah, there you go.
Rook F1? No way! This is the one that I was looking at. Oh, that's
And it
crazy.
says draw, but white is better, and yeah, that's what I thought during the game. I was like, I don't.
Because like the more I looked at Rook F1, the more I thought this just loses. Because you know.
I mean, if you just as black, if you're taking that rook right, then you just let white have an easier game, right? It kind of simplifies.
Yeah, I just kind of give him. I give him the win now instead of just like a draw position we were in.
Yep.
Dang. Well, okay, you put 2 question marks. It only put 1, but still.
I disagree with the engine. I mean, like, I as a human say that, like, that is, like, mate in 40 or something.
I don't think there was really a difference
What's
here.
going on here?
What does it want me to play here? I'm not sure exactly why. The eval bar changes a lot. I mean, surely you win this, though.
I mean, I think whatever you play here, as long
Now,
as you
is
don't throw away all
king-
your pawns as white, you just win.
I just want to see if king c6 was the only move.
Because, like, what
Best.
else could you play? You could, like, go here and then... Yeah.
e4 is a blunder. I was right. It is a draw.
Yeah, so you've got to go here. See, I feel good about playing for the draw, at least. I mean, I had some idea. But at this point, I can just resign, because... Plus 59.
e5's a blunder.
I mean, I don't know what king c3 does that this doesn't, but, you know.
Stays closer to the center so you get mated slower.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, well, there you have it. Well, I hope you guys
I want to
enjoyed
see the
the
percentages.
analysis.
Show us the percentages.
Oh, yeah, this is in the report. 98.5, dang.
God damn.
I feel pretty good about this.
So I had 2 mistakes, 1 inaccuracy. You had...
1 blender. Apparently.
That's the
Supposedly. I mean, I don't know if you count that.
Alright, so I have the light chess analysis open. I guess I'll post it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, I better go now. But this has been a lot of fun. We better do this after our next game, which I'm sure is going to be even better, right?
So
Yeah,
light chess
indeed.
says I had 21 average centipawn loss, and you had 37
But I
average
think
centipawn loss.
a good takeaway would be is like sometimes playing patient moves or moves to force your opponent to play a worse move is sometimes the best thing you can do.
Yeah, because there were quite a few of those this game that
Yeah,
we
like,
could have
there's
been
probably
playing.
about 3 of those at this game, because that's I mean it's even especially in like blitz chess. It's like you're gonna make a mistake before me, so I'm gonna allow you to do that with a patient move.
Although I guess the engine doesn't even like it so much here, but man, I would have felt like a genius.
The engine can be wrong.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Supposedly, I don't know. I'm gonna put it on YouTube, so I don't know who's gonna watch. Maybe it'll get 3 views, but I guess I'll catch you in the next one. And a big thanks, of course, Houston and Dread for joining.
Thanks for having me.
You're not allowed.
game.
You're not allowed to say thanks. Only me.